What's going on, guys? We are now on part 3 of your Montreal Canadiens full 2019-2020 season preview. Now let's go into the Montreal Canadiens defense, which I think is a lot better than people think, especially their ability to defend. The team may not have a plethora of offensively gifted superstar defensemen. I mean, obviously we've got Shea Weber, one of the best goal-scoring defensemen in the league, and Jeff Petrie, one of the best offensive defensemen in the league, and maybe even Josh Brook, a wild card. But what the Habs are guaranteed to have, and what they do have, are numerous defensemen who make good decisions on a consistent basis and exit the defensive zone very well. Now, first and foremost, the most important thing for the Canadiens D-corps heading into the season is that our captain, Shea Weber, is fully healthy and get a full offseason of training in this summer. I believe we are going to see a very strong season from Shea Weber in all areas of the ice. As always, he should be good for the 20 goal range and 30 assist mark. But defensively, I think he's going to be even better than he was last year. And that alone is incredibly impressive. He was a beast last year, despite coming back without a full offseason of training and missing a ton of hockey with those injuries. But this year, I think he's going to be nasty defensively, and that is terrifying for our opponents. I absolutely love watching what Shea Weber can do defensively. First off, he's so consistent. He's the epitome of consistency in the NHL. Not only his offensive output, but what he brings to the table defensively every single night. In the defensive zone, he's an absolute beast. In the corners, along the wall, retrieving pucks. He clears the front of the net for Carey Price efficiently. And once he retrieves those pucks, it's a very crisp and accurate first pass out of the zone. He does a lot of the work for his D partner in the D zone, and he makes it easy for them to then break the puck out thanks to those crisp passes up the ice. And when he does decide to skate up the ice, it's in an opportune moment where he will definitely get clear and get up to the red line. Up the ice, Shea Weber is typically always the last man back. And then once the Canadiens gain the zone, he does an incredible job defensively in the O-zone to keep plays alive, protecting that blue line, keeping pucks in, making very smart plays along that blue line, and crisp and hard, fast, accurate passes to his teammates down the half wall or to his D partner. His play on the ice and presence from day one will out of the gate make for an improved Montreal Canadiens D-corps this year. Now, there is definitely going to be some competition to see who will be his D partner. I think the obvious first choice is Victor Mete, who spent most of the season with him and complements Shea Weber very well. But don't count out Brett Kulak as an option to be Shea Weber's partner on that left side. He's 25, entering what should be the best years of his hockey career. He's physically mature. He makes great decisions out there. He's a good skater. And he had 6 goals and 11 assists last year in limited time with the Canadiens. He was a great addition to our team last year. He played mostly with Jeff Petrie, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this guy move up in the lineup as well. And honestly, don't even count out Mike Riley. He's an offensive-minded defenseman, and playing with a guy like Shea Weber could really highlight that part of Mike's game. And it's also worth noting that Mike Riley had the highest average ice time out of all Montreal Canadiens left side defensemen by over a minute. Behind Shea Weber on the right side, we have Jeff Petrie, who had 13 goals and 33 assists. He even collected a couple Norris votes. Very impressive. There are people starting to think that Jeff Petrie is the Canadiens' true number 1 defenseman. Now, I will respectfully disagree with that. I personally don't think Jeff Petrie's defensive game is consistent enough to be a true number 1. But what I will say is he is one of the best number 2 defensemen in the NHL. That's because of his very strong offensive game, ability to move the puck up through the neutral zone, make crisp passes. His skating keeps improving year over year. His work on his edges and quick stops and mobility is very impressive. The way he racks up points, he's got a great shot. He's also one of Montreal's most physical players. Petrie had 190 hits last year. Very, very strong player. And I think a perfect partner for Jeff Petrie is going to be Ben Sherratt. But Brett Kulak made a great partner for Jeff Petrie as well last year. Now, if Ben Sherratt does become Jeff Petrie's partner to start the season, hopefully these guys can gain some chemistry quickly. They do play different styles of games that should complement each other. Sherratt, a more shutdown defenseman who stays back, and Jeff always loves to get up in the play and bring that puck through the neutral zone, which is something he does fantastically. Now let's go back to Victor Mete. He may become Shea Weber's D partner for most of the season, but let's say he doesn't. I would personally then say the best spot for him would be on the Canadiens' third pair with sheltered matchups. Victor Mete is an incredibly strong defender 5-on-5. He uses his stick to get in lanes, disrupt his opponent trying to stick handle, and he's very fast and uses his quick stops and starts to not allow guys to get past him in the offensive zone, especially on cycles. Now, I will say his positional play can use a little work, but that's something that just comes in time as he gains experience in the NHL as a young player. Now, Mete's offensive game needs to improve, and if it does, that will be a huge key to the Canadiens' success this season. We need Mete to become an offensive threat 5-on-5, and especially on the power play. Having sheltered minutes on that third pair could help him develop in that area with controlled matchups. Victor Mete is always willing to pinch and skate that puck around the O-zone. He showed flashes of it last year, setting up some very nice scoring chances. Hopefully his ability to read plays and his passing accuracy has improved, because that would be massive for the Canadiens in terms of their offense this season. Not only 5-on-5, but especially on the power play. He was a highly offensive player in junior, and he's continued to get better in that regard. And he would also make a very good partner for Christian Folin or Noah Juulsen, who play a complementary style of game to him. Both Christian Folin and Noah Juulsen prefer to stay back in the play and make that first pass. This could complement Mete very well, and Mete and Juulsen played together quite a bit at the beginning of last season, and they looked great together, and it'll be interesting to see them back together again at some point to see if they can improve on that chemistry. Speaking of Juulsen, let's not forget he played some fantastic hockey to start the year last year. Yeah, he made some rookie mistakes here and there, but that happens to every young player. That said, he was a huge reason why the Montreal Canadiens were able to survive Shea Weber's injury early last season. I'm very hopeful that Noah Juulsen can stay healthy, play about 50 games in the NHL this year on the Montreal Canadiens' right side. And that would be massive for his development. He's still one of Montreal's best young prospects in the defense position, and a year playing with Shea Weber as a mentor, not on the same pair, but as a mentor, could really help round out his game as they play a fairly similar style of hockey. Noah Juulsen may need a conditioning stint in Laval to start the season just because he's missed so much hockey due to that long-term eye injury he had last year after getting smoked in the same area of the eye twice in a row in the same game. He's fully healed from it now, but he may need that time to get caught up in Laval with the speed of the game, and spending some time with Joël Bouchard is never a bad thing. Now, you never know. He may not need that. Training camp might be all he needs to get himself conditioned and ready. There's also Karl Alzner on left side defense who will be pushing to make the team this year, but he's got a hard road ahead of him. But apparently he had a great offseason, and from what I saw in his interviews, he has a very positive outlook, and he's going to do his best to make this team. However, he's dealing with a bit of an injury from the first day of training camp, which is extremely unfortunate, but I hope he can get back and we'll see the best out of him. He's taken a lot of heat in the media and from the fans the last couple years due to his contract and his first season with the Canadiens. But honestly, last year in his second year, I thought he looked pretty okay for the short stints he was with us. And then he took it in stride when he was sent down to Laval and was a leader for those guys down there. I'm not quite sure if he'll make the team, but if he doesn't, I'm hopeful the Canadiens can find a home for him somewhere in the NHL because that's where he wants to be. Now here's a major dark horse to make the Canadiens defense core this season. Otto Leskinen. He comes from the SM Liga. The Montreal Canadiens picked him up in the offseason. He's 23 years old, an offensive left-handed defenseman. He scored 8 goals and had 23 assists in that league last year. He could add something very significant to our decor, specifically in terms of offense on that left side and possibly even on the power play. He has looked great so far in camp, very comfortable, and you can tell he has professional seasons under his belt. Now let's go to goaltending. Carey Price. I am so pumped to get back to watching this guy's smoothness in the crease. We as Habs fans get a gift every night, getting to watch this guy work his magic, making it look effortless on many nights. And then there's all those small details that he brings to the game. His puck stops behind the net to prevent the forecheck, his purposeful deflections off his pads or his blocker to his teammates to start a breakout, his puck handling, and his ability to break out the puck is absolutely unbelievable. Couple that with his positional play in the net, his glove hand, the way he moves so smooth in that crease, and then of course his ability to break out that desperation save. Never quits on a play. There is a reason why his peers in the NHL and the guys who face him consistently vote him as the hardest guy to score against in the NHL. It's because he's the best in the world. Absolutely insane, and I cannot wait to get back to watching this Habs legend in the net, and it's time for him to go on a quest to get that elusive Stanley Cup, and we all know how much he wants it. I would not be surprised if his best years as a goaltender are still ahead of him. Make sure you check out part 1 of this full season breakdown to get my thoughts on Keith Kincaid. Now let's talk about how the Montreal Canadiens can have success this year and get into the playoffs. First and foremost, our record against the Atlantic Division has to be top notch. When we face the Bostons, the Torontos, the Tampas, the Buffaloes, even Ottawa, Detroit, it doesn't matter. Any team in our division, those games are huge and are all must wins. The team needs to be playing their best hockey on those nights. So that first and foremost is a massive key to the Montreal Canadiens' success this year. Next is their power play. It was the second worst in the NHL last year. That's unacceptable with the types of players that we have. The coaches have been hard at work to improve this through the offseason, and I'm optimistic that they can get there because of the talent that we have on this team. If the Canadiens can maintain their very strong 5-on-5 play and also improve their power play to somewhere into the 15-20 range in the NHL, and just at least have an average power play, to me, the Canadiens are a lock to make the playoffs. Now, in my opinion about the Habs power play specifically, they need way more deception throughout all of their strategies, whether it's their drawn-up face-off plays, their breakouts, their zone entries, but specifically there needs to be more deception in their offensive zone cycles. And the first and foremost thing they need to do on the power play is win the face-off. Personally, I think that's why I'd like to see a guy like Deneau out there, because he is one of Montreal's strongest guys in the face-off dot. And he's really good behind the net and playmaking from behind the net. And that's something where I think the Habs can improve on the power play. So like I said, the deception in their offensive zone movement and shot options needs to improve. Now, clearly, Shea Weber is an absolute nasty power play weapon for us with that bomb of a shot. Not only is it an absolute rocket, it is accurate, and he puts it in different areas of the net all the time. Now, that said, the Canadiens need to find other primary shot options before Shea Weber to help him disguise that shot. It can't be predictable that the Habs are eventually just going to work it over to Shea Weber. Now, Shea Weber himself can assist with this by participating in those give and goes, playing in different areas of the ice, not just that Ovi spot on the left side or near the blue line on the left side. If we get Shea Weber moving around in the offensive zone, he can confuse the penalty killers, they might lose him, and then he can slide over into that Ovi spot and wait for a nasty pass that he can wire past the goaltender. Also, the more he fake slap shots or throws wristers on net, which he is great at, to generate those rebounds, the better. The goaltenders and penalty killers can't be expecting that slap shot all the time. Shea Weber does a great job of disguising it himself already, but with some help from his teammates, we can see some major improvement on the power play. Ways to do that are for them to be constantly moving the puck or their feet, attacking areas of open ice, participating in give and goes, and keeping triangles of players in different areas of the ice. It's also important for the Habs to work it down low, north-south along the half wall to get those penalty killers moving as well. You needed to confuse the penalty killers and get them off their assignments. Another key will be Duren simplifying his game on the power play and keeping his feet moving. If he's attacking areas of open ice and keeping them feet moving, that's how he's going to open up passing lanes. And he can't be forcing risky plays when they're not available. He's got to only make them when he's confident enough to do so. There's nothing wrong with completing a short pass and using your teammates as support and participating in those give and goes. Drouin should also utilize his shot more often. He's got a great release, and the more he uses it, the more the penalty killers and goaltenders will be expecting him to shoot, and then he can slide a pass over east-west to set up a nasty goal to someone over on that right side. If he improves his ability to quarterback a power play, he's going to see a direct improvement in his offensive output. And of course, there's other players who could have an extreme impact on the Canadiens' power play this season. One of them could be Arturi Lehkonen as a one-time option as a left-hander playing on the right side. An improved ability for him to finish will make this power play much better. And that's actually an area of the ice that Kotkaniemi could thrive in as well, on that right side as a left-hander playing on the half wall. Kotkaniemi in his development seasons was a very strong power play player, and at some point his ability to quarterback a power play is going to improve immensely as well. And then of course there's Ryan Poehling and Nick Suzuki, who if they make the team or play with us at some point throughout the year, could have a strong impact on the Canadiens' power play, both as playmakers. And not only that, Nick Suzuki as a right-hander could be an option as a finisher on that left side after Shea Weber. Mike Riley also made some great plays on the Montreal Canadiens power play last season, so I'm interested to see if he'll get another shot there. And then of course you have Jordan Weal, who like I said, had a clear impact on the Canadiens power play at the end of last year. Overall, the Canadiens are in a great spot heading into the 2019-20 season. I think they're capable of making the playoffs, and right now they are fully healthy, knock on wood, and that's going to go a long way in having a strong start to the season, as well as having an extremely competitive camp, and it already looks like that is the case. Preseason is going to be a lot of fun this year, lots of guys battling for roles, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out. For the most part, the Canadiens have depth all over the lineup, and it's improved since last year. They're in a good spot to be able to handle injuries if or when they do happen to occur. We've got a ton of young players looking for more minutes, some young prospects ready to make the jump into the NHL, and I think it's going to be a very strong season for the Montreal Canadiens. If one of our young players jumps in, like Nick Suzuki or Ryan Poehling, and breaks out right away, Montreal could have an incredibly strong season, and it's really not that far out of the realm of possibility. If that happens, I could see the Montreal Canadiens as a lock for top 3 in the Atlantic Division, and even if it doesn't, I think they have a good chance of finishing in that top 3 this year. Regardless, this is a team that is going to fight and claw for a playoff spot, and I'm excited to watch it happen. And if they do make the playoffs, they are going to be a very hard team to eliminate. We're getting to the end here, so I just want to give a quick shout out to the online Montreal Canadiens community. First and foremost, there are a ton of great podcasts out there to listen to, created by fans. First, the From Failing Hands podcast with Mike and John, who have had a ton of great guests on throughout the offseason, including Craig Button, Brian Mudrick, John Liu, Nate Thompson. And then, of course, there's Hab a Listen, Habs Unfiltered, The Habby Hour. Check all of those great podcasts out. And there's also great fan-written content out there as well, from Habs Chronicle, A Winning Habit, Eyes on the Prize, among many others. I apologize immensely if I've missed anyone, but I appreciate all your guys' hard work. Also, a quick shout out to the subreddit Our Habs, my community. Love you guys. Can't wait for you guys to see these videos and hear what you think of them. I cannot wait to celebrate with you guys this season. We are going to have a blast as fans. It is going to be an exciting and fun season for the Habs. Now that's it for your entire 2019-2020 Montreal Canadiens season preview. I hope you guys enjoy the season. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Scotian Canadian. Go Habs, go baby! Woo!